Book War by Wang Ping.
Short bio for Wang Ping is although she was born in Shanghai, she was raised in a small island in East Asia. Wang is someone who wears many hats as she's a writer, a poet, photographer, and an American professor. As for my overall impressions for Book War, I can say I'm very impressed. I'm not much of a fan for reading, but Ping expresses her passion towards the taboo fairy tales, almost ignites a passion for me as well. For example, when she was excited, I was excited. When she felt fear, I felt fear. Same goes for sadness and redemption. I was really able to put myself into her perspective. As for Cincer's wisdom, I feel like Payne does exceptionally well in painting a picture for the reader and making sure every word has meaning and purpose. For example, Ping says, "Soon I excavated a box of books my mother had buried beneath the chicken coop. I pried it open with a screwdriver and pulled out one treasure after another." When I read words like excavator, pry open, and treasure box, it shows a sense of value and determination, each word adding meaning, taste, and emotional connection with the story.
I was the language expert, and I noticed that Ping used language intentionally and effectively, and she was able to very nicely set the scene and make it easy for us as the readers to understand what she was saying. For rhetorical devices, I noticed she used metaphors throughout her story, one of them being "My heart, our hearts turn into ashes," and her use of this metaphor really helped to describe how she was feeling sad and disheartened, and it just really described how she felt in a very unique and creative way. For imagery, she used a lot of imagery when describing different scenes and moments throughout the story, and I thought she was really good at painting a picture that we could easily visualize. Then for similes, which are obviously similar to metaphors, but I noticed she used these quite often throughout her essay too. My favorite example being, "They flapped their wings and flew out of my mouth like mourning doves." And this was a really good description that really helped bring her story to life and make the words feel more real. And I just thought it was really impactful and meant a lot for the story that she was telling. Then for repetition, I noticed that she mentioned tears and crying multiple times throughout the story, which really emphasized how important emotions um, and it really helped show how important the emotions that go along with the stories were, and it just really showed how impactful that her stories were. And all of these devices were really important for the story because they just showed she was able to use language effectively and intentionally to create a good story.
Etymology. Poisonous. Poisonous, 1570, originates from poison, 1200s, which means a dangerous substance, and itself originates from the word potio, the Latin word potio, which refers to a drink. This change in definition was because most old poisons needed to be put into a drink and dissolved to actually work. The second half of the word, the us at the end, it originates from the French ex and the Latin osis, and means having or having to do it. This means that the definition of poisonous is having a dangerous substance, which leads to the common definition, the common use of the word for something that is dangerous to consume either generally or for certain people or certain populations. The and that leads to the more metaphorical definition of more recent history where it is used to refer to things that are dangerous to consume, such as books and art. Oftentimes when there is little to no other reason for them to be considered dangerous. Books, as an example, were was used by Wang Ping in their story, where they refer to them as poisonous weeds. as a way that a lot of people in the time that the books were being banned would refer to the books that they wanted banned. War. War originates from war in the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle written in 1150 and means a hostile contention between two or more parties that are often large groups of people. Examples including nations or states. In most of history, this would refer to groups such as nations or kingdoms being at war with each other. But in more recent history, it is also used to just refer to more peaceful battles that usually still have the large sizes on each side, but less hostility and more of both sides have a certain thought process or goal in mind at the end of the war that differ enough that they're against each other. This more metaphorical definition is, again, what was used by Wang Ping in their story specifically when they say, "When I saw stars rising in their dimmed eyes, I knew I had won the war," talking about how when they saw people excited about the stories they were telling from the banned books, they knew that they had won the war. They were winning the war against books on the side of the books. Treasure. Treasure originates from the French trésor, which originates from 1200, and the Latin word thesaurus, which originates itself from the Greek word thesauros, which is a derivative of tithemi. Its literal definition, is a collection of valuables often together, but its metaphorical definition refers to anything that somebody considers valuable. It doesn't even have to be actually valuable, it can just be something that somebody considers valuable. For example, in the book that the war that Wang Ping wrote, they write about the treasure that is the buried box of banned books that their mother had, where they found a lot of books that they wanted to read that, of course, were banned, so they couldn't find anywhere else. Later, after their mother had forced them to burn all of these books, they say that they use the word treasure to refer to the stories in them, or based on them, saying, "Stories I'd read from those forbidden treasures," referring, of course, to the stories inside of those books, or that maybe that they made originating from those, with ideas from those books.